For a while now, I've been improving the early moments of my indie game, Moonshire, in order to make the best first impression possible. The pixel art and audio improvements have been a big step up, but I knew the level layouts were still a huge problem. The path branched out immediately before the game taught all of the main gameplay mechanics, so a lot of players were unaware of important abilities like dodging and healing. I wanted a game where there were plenty of branching paths and places to explore, but I'm realizing that a slightly more linear intro is worth it. I can gradually introduce each mechanic in a set order, upping the complexity over time with each new detail, and once everything is covered, it's at that point the options start to open up. The first big tutorial change is this short area that teaches you how to dodge and avoid damage from these ground spikes. There was never any point in the game that dodging was necessary until now, and I think this section makes it clear how it's useful, especially since it leads right into a few waves of enemies. This is then followed by a healing tutorial, which I did have a tutorial for this before, but it was too easy to miss. None of these messages interrupt you, so people who know what they're doing can just run right past, but it's no longer possible to accidentally miss them. In town, there's NPCs to talk with, and some are interested in trading. I've had coins and a shop in the game for 2 years now, and those same coins have never really been changed. At this point though, it doesn't really fit the theme of the game, so instead I've added natural resources like seeds, fish, gold, and ore. These are quick to pick up and act as a small reward for exploring. The seeds are used at specific soil spots to grow plants, ore is given to the blacksmith for new weapons, and gold is used to buy stuff. One important aspect of these resources is how they respawn. It'd be easiest if everything just respawned as soon as the map reloaded, but then players could exploit this and farm stuff too quickly. To prevent it from automatically respawning, the save file needs to keep a list of every single resource that's been collected, and when a map loads, if that resource is in this list, it won't spawn. That's exactly how the treasure chests work. When you open a chest, its ID is added to a list. When a map loads, if a chest spawns in, it's going to compare its ID to the full list, and if there's a match, the chest is already looted and empty. The resources are a bit different though, because eventually I do want them to respawn. So in addition to adding the resource ID to a list, it also tracks a number value. This represents the number of seconds before the resource can be spawned again, and the value is constantly ticking down in real time. Once it hits 0, the section for that resource gets removed from the list, and the next time the map loads, the resource will successfully spawn. I currently have everything set to 600 seconds, or 10 minutes, which is a long time, but what's nice about this setup is that when you save the game, it also saves a snapshot of the timer list, so everything carries over between play sessions. With a 10-minute buffer, this means you can't repeatedly reload an area to farm the same spot over and over. But also, it makes backtracking to revisit previous areas a better experience, since the reward for exploring comes back. None of this stuff about resources is important at all if the rewards aren't worth it. I need to make sure there's worthwhile items in the shop, and the blacksmith has plenty of weapons to create. The seeds are my favorite resource since soil patches can be anywhere in the game, and I've been getting creative with what they can actually grow. I love this idea of an ivy wall which creates a shortcut back to town. This is also the first and only place you can climb walls. The way this works is kind of hacky, but I like how simple it is. The map has a narrow wall in the middle here, which of course I can't walk through, but once the soil patch is planted, the middle wall deletes itself and won't ever respawn. At that point, the shortcut is complete, but to make it look like I'm climbing, I added a small invisible region that's considered climbing territory. If the player is ever inside one of these climbing territory regions, the animation direction is forced upwards, their movement speed is decreased, and the animation speed is decreased. Even though it's simple, I plan to use this climbing system for ladders or any other walls that need a shortcut. In my previous video, I received so much amazing feedback regarding the magic spells. Based on these ideas, I've come up with a new magic system that I'll share the details on once it's implemented. Legitimately, last video's comments were extremely helpful with brainstorming new options. Thank you so much for that. If it's possible, I'd love to have the same experience with this video. I'm looking for new resource types to add to the game. There's a few things I'm thinking about, like how is the resource collected? In general, collecting the resource should be quick, and it needs to fit into the environment naturally. I'm also wondering how the resource is used, or what kind of rewards you can get for collecting them. The soil is the best example of this, since it integrates with the environment, and it makes level design a lot more flexible since the reward from it can be whatever I want. Let me know any thoughts you have, and the Steam demo has been updated with a lot of the recent devlog content. The link to the game is in the description. Thank you so much for watching.